So McDonald's has this McDonald's McResource line because they put Mick in front of everything. It's brilliant. And this is where they give tips, lifestyle tidbits to assist their employees. And NBC News checked out the site last week and found this article dedicated to tipping service that their employees should give to the people that are serving them during the holidays. So this is what McDonald's wants their employees to be giving to their employees. For your au pair, a gift from your family, or 1 week's pay, plus a small gift from your child. For your housekeeper, 1 day's pay. Your pool cleaner, because most people making the $7 and change at McDonald's have a pool, cost of one cleaning. The article also lists holiday tipping pointers for your dog walker, your massage therapist, of course, and your personal fitness trainer. Just a little bit more about numbers and money in McDonald's. CEO James Skinner made about $14 million last year. Okay, that's actually not crazy amount in the world of CEOs, but it is a lot, obviously. But that breaks down to $9,247 per hour. Do you know how long it would take the average McDonald's worker who makes $7.73 to make that? A cool 4 months. Yeah, 4 months.
And
this guy makes in one
employee, not
a full-time employee.
And a lot of McDonald's workers are part-time employees. That would take 8 months.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just start with that part of it, and then we'll get into the specifics of this tidbit thing. The money breakdown, and the CEO is making this crazy amount, and we see every year it gets worse and worse. The disparity between the CEO pay and the average worker pay just gets worse and worse. Is there anything we can do to stop this? I guess they're trying. Even just this last week, we had these protests.
Sure, they're trying to get at least $15 an hour. I mean, your Big Mac's going to go up in price a little bit because they're not. Certainly, they don't want to take away his money, his salary,
or shareholder profit.
Sure, exactly. Yeah. Shareholder profit, salaries for people that are obviously this guy's making $14 million and somebody's trying to survive with their nanny, with the dog walker, their pool, and their fitness trainer while they're not working at McDonald's. Obviously.
Yeah.
It's insane. These people obviously did not look before, McDonald's, well, it was a third-party person that put this on our website. We just didn't look at it. But who was the third-party person thinking that McDonald's workers had an au pair?
All right, so we'll get to the specifics of this ridiculous thing in a second. But what can we do about this CEO to average worker pay situation?
I think it starts with the federal minimum wage. That's like a beginning place, because we have so many people to lift out of poverty and to help those people actually participate in the economy. And when they participate in the economy, they're more likely to vote. And by voting and making sure that people who actually care about them and actually work for them and actually share their values get into office, to make sure that when we have incentives and subsidies that are being given away to corporations that Congress votes on, that those people don't let those subsidies go through.
Right. And what would you argue to the crazy capitalists, the purists, who would say, well, if you do that, then the dollar menu is going to disappear and they're going to fire everybody and replace them all with robots? What's the argument?
It's absolute bullshit. There is no economic data that proves that. The economic data shows that when you lift people out of poverty into the middle class, that it actually helps the economy, because that money gets circulated throughout the economy. Wealthy people, CEOs, they don't buy stuff. What they do is they maybe will buy some luxury items, but they'll invest the rest, and it doesn't get circulated in the economy. When people are at the middle class or lower, I think it's something like the vast majority of Americans make $60,000 a year or less. That's a lot of folks who will immediately put that money back into the economy. So when you treat labor as an expense rather than an asset, that is, I think, the place where capitalism falters, and unfettered capitalism actually is a detriment to society.
Okay, so now let's talk about the McResource thing itself, because obviously this is completely insane, and yes, they're saying it was a third party, but they still put it on their website.
Sure. They're still responsible.
They're still responsible. It reminded me of the thing, do you see a couple weeks ago, that Walmart store had a bin.
Give away food.
Yeah, they wanted people to help other Walmart employees. Meanwhile, the two owners, the sisters that own Walmart, are the 2 or 3 richest people in America, or something like that. I mean, really, really crazy stuff. So is there just really some disconnect between the corporate level of these companies like McDonald's and then what is really happening on the ground that they could get, that this could even happen?
Well, of course, I think there is disconnect, but there's also people probably don't really give a shit about their jobs. You know, we're making a list of things to do for how to tip for the holidays, and they just put it on the site without even, it's like they don't even care to look and go, oh, you know, this probably doesn't fit with the McDonald's employee. Let's adjust it or change it, because God forbid, that might take some work for them to maybe make another list than the one that they already created and using that template, you know?
Okay, so I think that's very legit, that everyone sees this and you want to get crazy. See what McDonald's is doing, but I do think it's very possible that what you're saying is right, that this is just some mid-level person not doing their...
Intern that's not being paid.
Yeah, right,
who had to put this together from, stuff that they found on the internet.
Yeah. So the inequality thing, is there anything else we can do? Forgetting the fast food, but just the general inequality thing. Obama said,
food at home?
Make your own food at home. I guess that's, well, people always say that if you keep that food low, it's that the poorer people need that food, which I'm always not so sure that that's true, because for the $8 that you spend at McDonald's to get a Big Mac meal or whatever it is, you could go to Trader Joe's and still get a decently healthy meal for $8, right?
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at, say, our farm system, we subsidize food processors. We subsidize commodities that actually then make ingredients cheap for the manufactured food industry, and we don't give any assistance whatsoever to the organics or the fruits and vegetables people. Those farmers don't get that help.
Well, it's a problem when you can get a Big Mac meal for $2.99 with a large Coke, with fries that are fried, and then you want a salad that's kind of healthy that maybe has some fresh vegetables on it with a side of fruit, and it's $10. So you can see that there's an issue.
So you vote with your dollar.
Yeah.
And I think that you share the information with everybody in your network, because that's how it works. You tell your friends and family. You make sure that they understand what the issues actually are, that cheap food comes at a price, and it doesn't come at a price that's good for you. Of course, they're going to need cheap food.
I think a lot of people are educated, and they've seen all the videos of how they process food and stuff, and they still go, well, Taco Bell, I can still get out with a bag of food for $3.
I think a lot fewer people are actually educated about it than we realize. There have been some recent polls that show a lot of folks really don't know about these issues because they're too busy trying to make ends meet and raise their kids and get a good night's sleep so they can get up again and do it all tomorrow, and they don't really have all that information.
And
so
that's exactly
that information.
And that's exactly why we've talked many times here about all these corn subsidies. So then they put high fructose corn syrup in everything. So that sugar is actually too expensive for Coke to put in Coke. You're drinking corn, people. Corn.